absolutely. It's the largest profession in healthcare. And it's I think it's the backbone. I mean, everybody plays an integral part in it for sure. But I mean, they're my people and my
They're
jam.
your
So yeah.
peeps, right? Is that what we
Yeah.
say in Pittsburgh? They're
Absolutely.
peeps.
Absolutely. And certain Nurses Week is super fun. It all leads up to Florence Nightingale's birthday on May 12th. So that's what nurse I don't know if you knew that, but that's kind of the week preceding her birthday. So yeah,
I
she's
got
kind
to.
of an idol, kind of a
Yes, I
homie.
did do a little research on it, and I seen that. So Suzanne, real quick before we bring Mandy on, is like you were on the other side, and then you came into staffing. So break it down for maybe the first couple minutes here of like you were an RN, weren't you on bedside?
Oh yeah, I started fresh out of school at the age of 20. Um, my first job was at UPMC down in Shadyside,
Oh yeah.
Oakland Shadyside, and I started in the trauma ICU brand new. Didn't know anything. I was a baby nurse, so terrified. But I learned so much, and it was the that was the best, most rewarding, most exciting job that I've had as a nurse because I learned and grew so much. Became a charge nurse, and then became an educator. And then, I just kind of like reached the ceiling and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go travel. And that is the greatest thing I've ever done because it afforded me so much opportunity. I, made more money. And then I eventually met my husband on a travel assignment. He was a
Ooh.
traveler as well. Yeah. We met at Yale. He held the door open for me. And so
Love
we
it.
traveled together. Yeah, we met as strangers, and then we traveled together for years up and down the California coast and all across the country. Got married in Vegas, lived there for a while, and then when COVID happened, it really changed my. It really affected me in my love of the profession, and I struggled with it for a bit. I had, I went to Guam actually, did some COVID relief work in Guam, and
Wow.
yeah, and, it just I really that was the first time I really experienced true burnout, and I needed a break, and, I turned to my husband one day sitting on the couch, and I said, "You know what? Why don't we just start our own agency? Like, how hard could it be?" Famous last words. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's been really great to take all the experiences that we've had and give it back to the profession from our side, with the healthcare flair that I feel like only we can have after living it. So yeah, it's been 3 years since we started Lucid and we're growing and I'm grateful.
No, you are. And I see you got all kind of awards from SIA and all this good stuff. So I mean, you guys
Mm.
are like just rocking it out.
Yeah, thanks. I really, yeah, I was just like, I didn't realize what it was going to be going into it. You never really do until I didn't know what I didn't know. But yeah, our feedback from our clients and the clinicians that we work with is just so great. It's so rewarding to be able to give people like a good job where they feel safe and secure and they get paid well and on time. I mean, it sounds like what's so hard about that? But
It's 100%. So, okay. So then we're going to bring Mandy on right now. So how did you find Mandy? Let's go from there before we can bring her on. I want to hear this story.
yeah, yeah. So all of our recruiters and account managers, anyone forward facing that works with clinicians are clinicians themselves. That's been our model. So like, we have rad techs as recruiters, we have nurses, we just hired a respiratory therapist and Mandy was a referral and she, that's a lot of the clinician space, knowing people. And she was a nurse and then a nurse practitioner and then a recruiter. So she kind of, went through the same thing and yeah, I'm super grateful to have her. She just joined the team, and I'd love to, hear her perspective on changing, jumping careers because it's a big jump. But yeah, she's
All
awesome.
right, here she comes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mandy.
Hi guys.
What's
Stand here.
up? You're
How
like,
are ya?
I'm like, okay, when's the cue? When's the shark going to bring me on? It's
Right.
like,
I'm
come
like,
on.
I'm just sitting here
I had to
waiting.
build a hype up, that nurses hype,
That's right.
So, hey, thank you so much, Andy. Real quick, let's just go back a little bit before we talk about your story. Pre-COVID, you both experienced that. Walk me through that a little bit, Mandy, and then you can jump in, Suzanne. Nursing before COVID and after COVID, because I think
Yeah.
our audience wants to hear this because, from what I understand, it's a total different flip.
Yeah. My story's a little different and much different than Suzanne's. I didn't actually travel. So I was a pediatric nurse. Loved the kid. Like I love working with kids.
Oh, I bet you.
I know I'm kind of weird like that, I guess. But my job started on the bone marrow transplant floor at Cincinnati Children's. And I while it was like extremely difficult and sad, I fell in love with that population and just the care that I got to give pretty much as they transition. Majority, obviously, you know, bone marrow transplant is such a hard thing and most don't make it. So really being there for them as they kind of walk that journey was really rewarding and I didn't want to leave it. So that was all pre-COVID and loved my experience. I moved into a nurse practitioner role right before COVID. So it was different. And then when COVID hit, we kind of shut down. My role, we were in the OR. So unless it was an emergent case, I was kind of hands off. And it really was difficult to not only take that step back from patient care, but then try to figure out like, what is this going to look like for my future? What's going to happen with patient care? Am I going to have to jump back into bedside? I really had no idea. So, so I actually didn't work hardcore through COVID. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I got to ask you about COVID. Both of you, I got to ask, like during COVID, my friends said it was like you could work like 100 hours a week. Seriously, you live there. It's like the money they made, they bought houses with it, but it was very stressful too because were you both worried a little bit when COVID was going on? I mean, you had masks on. I mean, was there times where you go home to your family and you're kind of scared?
Especially at first, yeah. Like I worked in the ICU. I worked on a floor where we did a lot of ECMO and rotoproning and advanced ventilation techniques. And at first, I mean, just like the rest of the population, nobody really knew what to expect or what was going to happen. So I think, and as we started to see it evolve and understand it a bit better, it was a little less scary, but equally as stressful. And just it was just a lot. It was traumatic. And so yeah, you hear things about travelers, and I worked a 60-hour-a-week contract, and we made good money, but it was on the back of a lot of anxiety and stress, and giving up my wear and tear on my body and the risk and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was tough.
Yeah, I would say that, and man, you probably agree on that. It's like when you're a nurse, you're on 24/7. Anything in healthcare, you can't like just fall asleep and you work some crazy hours. So I always say you earn your pay. I mean, I don't care what they say. I mean, you're there. You're not there just sitting there at the desk, and just playing games, solitary all day.
Yeah.
So Mandy, give me a little bit of your story. I want to hear this, pretty much how did you get into healthcare and all this stuff up all the way to meeting Suzanne and being, a recruiter now?
Yeah. So I wasn't one of those kids that like dreamed of becoming a nurse as a little girl. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I actually thought I would be a pharmacist and decided that wasn't really my thing either. So I didn't become a nurse until I was 26. It was kind of a later in life decision. Went back to school with kids and all that. So became a nurse at 26, worked 4 years on the floor with kiddos, bone marrow transplant, and then decided that I really wanted more. I wanted to advance my career, do something still in healthcare because I spent all this time studying, loved the patient population, loved what I did. So I got my NP and started working. I did oncology for a year. And then after 5 years of watching kids just kind of struggle and many pass, I kind of was done with that. So I moved into ENT and I really focused on airway. So I did a lot of trach kids, airway reconstruction, just kind of managing their care plans and helping out with transitioning through surgeries in the OR. And then COVID happened. So when my role kind of took a shift, we went home and kind of were in more of a care management role, which I hated because I didn't get to see them and really give that hands-on care that I went to school for. So that was kind of where the shift started. And then I went through a divorce. And so my season of life was just kind of chaotic and nuts, and I didn't know where to turn next. So
I could imagine that. Ooh.
Yeah. So like, the stress of like, it's peak COVID and then I'm getting a divorce and then the schedule's crazy. Like, what do I do? So, Stephanie
a lot of coffee.
Yeah. So I actually had another nurse reach out to me about becoming a recruiter. This was back in 2021, I guess. And I was like, I went to school and got my master's degree. Like, I am not going into staffing, no offense, but like,
time out. See, Suzanne, that's the thing we get all the time. You get in healthcare and you're like, staffing, till you get into it, you don't understand what it's about. Am I right? It's a total.
Well, it's talk about this all the time. It's nobody's like calling. I don't feel like
there's no degree. It says
I wanted to be a recruiter. No.
Right.
No. It finds you. It does. But go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So did it for 3 years. I worked for another agency. And the industry was changing. And I was like, like I really miss being a nurse. I miss that care. And I miss it just became such a business. And so I was like, I don't know if maybe it's the agency, maybe it's the industry. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I left in September and I was like, pause. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And I kept seeing Lucid pop up on LinkedIn and Suzanne and all the awards. And I was just like, there's something different about this place. So I actually reached out to Suzanne in December on LinkedIn, and she and I never connected. Like, the message got hidden and buried. But I truly think timing is everything, because like she said, a referral kind of threw my name out there at a time when I really was eager to get back into staffing and find a place, like a home that really felt just somewhere I could grow and kind of start low and just help climb. And I think Lucid's been that. This is my 4th week now, so still new, but I'm so like, and I know this sounds so cliche, but like I have never felt so comfortable in a job, even in nursing. I feel like this place is just different.
That's amazing to hear that, and what I love, Mandy, about it is like you were progressive and you actually went after it. You're like, instead of sitting back, you're like, I'm going to call Suzanne and see what's up and see if she's available. Yeah.
I feel, when I realized that it was buried deep in my spam on my LinkedIn, and I was like, oh man. And it's just funny how, to your point, how things work out, because, that could have happened and we could have never connected, and, it just would have faded off into nothingness. But the fact that, I do believe in some degree of fate, in that, you came back around and it worked out this way. And
so Suzanne, when she reached out to you, so it was in your spam box, right? For a while. Yeah. So how did you get a hold of Mandy? How did you get a hold of her? Phone call?
I didn't, actually. So a mutual contact of ours, or I guess the company, threw my name out there to another coworker here. And he actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, I love making connections. So I'm so quick to be like, yeah, like, let's see what this is about. So we started talking, and then I met Daniel, Suzanne's husband, and immediately was like, I'm in. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to warn you, and Suzanne, you're probably right with this. I've been in it for 11 years. I used to be a probation officer. Once you get in this industry, you're never leaving. You're here forever. Am I right? It's like, right? It's addiction. It's like, seriously. I love staffing and recruiting. I love helping people. I just love the industry, period. You're going to love it, Mandy. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Love it. Thank you. I'm so happy.
That makes me so happy. Thank you for, the kind words, Mandy. Honestly, that's why we're here. And that's why Daniel and I wanted to do this.
I love that. And by the way, Suzanne, I did not pay Mandy any money to say that either.
Well, even if you did, I'll take it.
That's funny. So one thing I want to talk about, and I think this is big, is like the nurse is shortage, the staffing shortage. I mean, I see this. I'm not in healthcare. I'm more in light industrial, but can you guys both break it down to me of what's going on in the industry right now?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of components to that. I mean, we wouldn't have enough time, I think, to go through all of them. But the high points, I think that burnout's a huge one. I think people get into this, this industry, into nursing, and, they come in really excited and they quickly get burned out by, patient ratios and the pay and the hours, and it is a lot. It's a lot. And so I read a statistic, recently that 40% of nurses plan to leave in the next 5 years, which is heartbreaking. And
wow.
That's kind of what I wanted to talk with Mandy about and just talk about is like, one of our goals is to help clinicians, not just nurses, but all clinicians, kind of fall back in love with the career and give them at least someone to employ them that they can feel comfortable and safe with and trust in, and feel like they can relate to and feel supported. And there's so many different avenues that you can do in healthcare. Just us here, the different places that we've been is 5, 6, and there's so many more. And so I really want to try to figure out the ways to help make nurses, make clinicians love the industry, because it's rough out there.
What's your take on that, Mandy? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's multifaceted, but I do think that what I've talked to a lot of people on the phone about just in recruiting, and this is where we relate. I don't think, if you haven't done it, I don't know that you always learn or understand that this job is not just physical, it's not just mental. There's such an emotional baggage that comes with it. So when you clock out, you're not just, hey, I'm done for the day, cool, I'm going home. Like I mean, countless times I would have to sit in my car and just cry after a shift and just really decompress. And
Really?
you don't leave it at the door. You really do take it home with
Wow.
you. And so I always get a little like perturbed when people are like, oh, it's only 3 days a week. I'm like, hold on. Like, this
Okay,
is
so
not a
you
3 day. Like, it's
okay,
not
Mandy. So
Christian.
you
Yeah,
just opened up a
literally.
can of worms right now that I want to talk about. All right, so you ready for this can of worms? See that, Suzanne? Talking to the Indians are talking again. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
So long story short, crying in your car. Can you give us a story? Just break it down right on the spot here. A couple stories that you dealt with the kids, maybe, or somebody like that, that really touched your heart. I'm sure you have story after story, but is there any that just
Yeah,
pops out right now?
there's countless. But I remember there was one little boy in particular who he had leukemia, and we had tried the transplant route, and it was failing. And I just remember it wasn't like he passed, within hours. It was like days. And we all knew it was coming, but these parents were just sitting waiting. And the very last day that he was alive, he was nonverbal and had some other issues too, but he was like clicking with like something in the corner of the room. Like, you don't see anything, but just making these clicking noises and laughing and giggling. And I'm like a huge person of faith, but I just really thought, and his mom came out and she's like, I think he's ready. Like, I think we're ready to do this, and he's ready to go. And it was shortly after that he passed, and it was just such a peaceful moment, but then so emotional for all of us at the same time, because we were all just sitting and kind of waiting, anticipating this. And bone marrow transplant kids are in the hospital for months. I mean, it can be a year. They live there. So just that, watching that mother, and at the time I was pregnant with my son. So just watching that mom embrace her child as he passed away, and just, and such the lead up to that was just, it was heartbreaking, but rewarding in the sense that we all kind of were there and supporting her. But yeah, just, I don't know. You just don't come down from that. You can't just walk away and say, oh, all right, she's there.
No,
Not at all.
it
And
changes you.
do you guys get attached? Like, I don't know about you, because I'm very, emotional to everything. I cry all the time for fun, and I cry for sorrow. But do you guys get like attached to people? Like, there's patients there that you see all the time, and you're like, kind of like they're part of your family.
For sure. Yeah, I think there's some of them that stick with you forever. There's the ones I've taken care of thousands of people, but there are people that stick out and stand out that I remember forever. Absolutely. You get to know their families, you get to know their stories, and it becomes personal. But at the same time, it can't get too personal, because that's how, you protect yourself mentally. And, we all have our ways of coping. Some are healthier than others. You'll see some dark nursing humor every now and again, or, I think us all staying close and having somebody to confide in or talk about. Like, I go and talk to my non-medical friends and family about things, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so disturbing." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's another day at the office, like." So yeah, it's definitely changes you for sure. It becomes your
I, I,
identity.
I got to tell you, in the hospitals, when I go into them, and I don't go much, is like the office, they decorate for every holiday, like big time. It's like Halloween and Christmas. It's like, holy cow, you're walking in
We
the
dress
ER and
up
it's got all
too.
this celebration. Is that like everywhere, or just hospitals around me? I mean, come on.
No, that's everywhere. I feel like there's always like a couple ladies on the unit who have the box of decorations in their locker, and every holiday is like.
And you know what? There's always cookies or something. I swear there's snacks on every, like, I'll see nurses just grab a cookie and just take off down the aisle. It's like,
Remember what I said about coping mechanisms? Eating is definitely one of them. Yeah. I'm
so
just gonna stand here in this corner and eat.
oh, okay. So
Sometimes
what's
that's
your
all you
favorite?
get all day, the cookie.
Yeah,
So do
that's
you guys
true.
get like all joking aside, like I think the audience needs to notice, like how many breaks do you get like through a course of a day?
Depends on what state you're in. California, it's so much better. Travel nursing in California, I was like, it's just what it's supposed to be, but that is great. In Pennsylvania, and I don't know, Mandy, you could speak to Ohio. It's just whenever,
Yeah,
if
there were
you
no rules.
can.
Yeah.
So that's why all these nurses have like I see their protein bars like in there, right there. They pull it
And
out,
they've
eat
got
real
their
quick, and on
cups
the run.
filled with energy drinks, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
have both, I got to ask you this, have any of you like stayed overnight at the hospital, like in the rooms?
I did once in a snowstorm.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wondered that because I see sometimes they say they give you some housing over there. I was like, I just wondered what it was like, you know? I'm kind of
Yeah.
nosy sometimes. I don't peek in the rooms that they're like, oh, I was here for 48 hours and then there's a room down the hallway. I'm like, what's going on? Is it a TV in there? What is it? Just a bed you sleep in?
No, yeah, we've done like the overnights during like really bad snowstorms just because, it's easier to just stay there than go home. But that's, yeah.
Same. Yeah. Not fun. Little sleep. But
Oh,
Yeah.
man, on your days off, man, no wonder most of the nurses I know that, they sleep on their days off. It's like, they're so exhausted.
Yeah, the first day after 3 days in a row is just like might as well be a fourth day because for me, that was always like my decompression day. Don't talk to me. I don't wanna do anything. I'm just gonna sit here and just be for 24 hours.
Well,
yeah.
that's good. Your husband knows this since he's in nursing too. So he knows how to like, deal with you and then say, okay, I need to back off.
Yeah. Well, he is a radiologic technologist actually, so he worked in
Okay.
IR and cath lab, but he dealt with a whole different beast, which was taking call. And that's, the nurses in those spaces do that too, and that was something that oh man, I give so much praise to them. He would get called in at 2 a.m., be there for 2 hours, come home at 4, finally get comfortable in bed, and then the pager would go off, and I have
Oh,
PTSD from that, so yeah.
holy cow. So I take it like if you're a nurse or a doctor, you're drinking a lot of coffee. You should be on coffee or tea, one of them,
Yes.
like all
The
day.
people who don't, I marvel at that, like, just have organic energy,
I don't get it.
amazing.
Get that IV of coffee ready. Oh boy. So you know what? Something I want to talk about here before we wrap things up is like when you guys are sourcing now for nurses, what do you see like the Gen Zs coming out of nursing school? Maybe Suzanne could talk about this. Like, what are the requirements? What are they looking for? I mean, is there like work-life balance? You hear all this stuff, but you see it in the front line. What are they asking for?
Yeah, I think the needs of employees have definitely shifted, and I think it's just across the board, not just nurses. This younger generation, they really prioritize like flexibility and work-life balance. And people can say whatever they want about people not wanting to work and all this stuff, but I actually see it as a positive. I think that people are kind of standing up for what is probably right and fair, and saying, I want to be able to take time off, and I want to be able to unplug from work when I'm not working. And so, yeah, that's been a big thing. I think that's a big appeal for people to go into travel because they have a lot more control over when they work. They can take time off in between contracts, and I think it's going to keep becoming more and more of a thing. And I think hospitals, if they want to keep up and keep staff, they're going to have to evolve with those needs and be more, have more flexible scheduling, be willing to work with people and accommodate their needs. I think that's going to be a huge thing to address the shortage. Um, but yeah, I think, I hope that people still want to be nurses, and I hope that they'll continue to go into the profession and love it as much as, I do and once did, because, when I was a baby nurse, it was, I didn't always want to be a nurse. Once I became one, I loved it. It was, I felt like I was helping people, and it was exciting and exhilarating to learn all the new things. So yeah, I think there's still room for what is it, Gen Z, and there's one below them, right? Alpha? Is it?
Is that around now? Gen Alpha? Is
I
that the
think
new one?
so. Yeah.
Phew.
I think it is. I think it is. I don't have to chat GPT that. But yeah, I hope that they wanna go into the profession and they can, find their niche, whatever it is, whether you wanna be bedside or you wanna go into administration or you wanna be a nurse practitioner someday or a CRNA or you wanna be a legal nurse. I mean, there's so many things to do. Yeah,
Or you could be in staffing and recruiting.
absolutely. Or
And
you can come
don't
work
make
at
fun of
Lucid
it,
and
peeps. It's a great
right.
industry.
You could take your clinical experience and come work at Lucid.
Ooh, there it is. There's a good plug for that. Okay, Suzanne. So I got to ask you. So you were a traveling nurse. One of your favorite gigs. Where was it at?
Ooh. Favorite. Well, okay, I worked at a hospital in Burlingame, California, and I worked there actually as a traveler for 2 years, and I met some of my best friends there, girls that were in my wedding. One of them actually works as a recruiter now at Lucid. So the job maybe not my favorite, but the experience, 10 out of 10. It was a floor where there was mostly travelers. I think like 60 or 70% of the unit was travelers. So we had a really tight knit group. We did Friendsgivings, we did Christmases, we traveled, we did all kinds of fun stuff together. So yeah, that was probably my favorite. Other than meeting my husband at Yale, that was my second
Oh,
favorite
she
of
came
kind of
back. Man, did you see that? She came back with that real quick here because this is live. The hubby out there, 10 points for
I
Suzanne.
was like, maybe he could hear me somewhere in here. Top 10 experience. Best thing that's ever happened to me. But yeah.
That's awesome there. So Mandy, I got to ask you before, like I said, we're gonna wrap things up here. So you've been in it for 4 weeks here right now with Lucent. What are you seeing from the previous time you did staffing recruiting? Do you see anything different with the candidates you're talking to?
I never actually recruited heavily allied. It was all nursing. And so there's definitely a mix here, which I really appreciate. And I think that what I value the most is that I'm working with other clinicians. So we instantly have that just bond. I had it before, but I think now just literally saying that, like, you're not just going to have my support, you have this company support. And that, I mean, I know as a nurse myself, if I was going to be traveling, that's what I would want. I'm going to want not just my recruiter, because so many times I would hear, well, the recruiter can say one thing, but then management's going to say something else, you know? So here Suzanne truly does mean what she says. Like, it's just such a supportive environment. And she not only says it, she lives it. So it's been a really, really awesome experience. And I know it's only going to get better.
Okay, there's the heart. And I could tell your staff meetings, I bet you they're fun. If I was peeping in on this, I bet you guys laugh, giggle, and say some stories. And that's what staffing is all about.
We do every day. We meet every day at the same time for 30 minutes and just do like a company meeting. And yeah, it gets funny. It's a great time. I love everybody that's here. And honestly, the thing I'm most proud of is the team that we've curated here. If anyone asks, like, you know, I get that question a lot. What are you most proud of? That's it. It's the camaraderie of the team that we built.
Okay, so are you looking for any recruiters right now? Or account reps?
Yes, we are.
There's the plug. Tell them to call you, right?
Actively looking for recruiters. We're actually working on developing like a clinician recruitment training program to help people that want to try it out and come into the staffing world. But if you are interested or want to learn about becoming a recruiter, you can always reach out to myself or Daniel. And anybody who has experience in staffing is a bonus. Yeah. Love to have some new people.
I love it. And before we go, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsor, Advanced Partners. They put the fun, F-U-N, in funding. If you need funding, you need to call Advanced Partners. Going to give them a plug. Got to love them peeps, right?
Yeah, I do. I love the folks at Advanced Partners as well. They're awesome. Staffing's their biz. Yeah.
And 100%. And Mandy, I don't know if you know Advanced Partners yet, but if you meet any of them, they're the best people around. Seriously, when you go to an event, you'll love them all.
Yeah, they took us out to dinner, and they're the most fun.
Okay. So I got to ask you, who was your rep? Who works with you?
David Garson.
It's my boy, Dave.
Yeah.
Give a shout out for Dave out there.
He's the best. He's always sending me brownies and gifts and all kinds. He's just so thoughtful. Like every time.
Okay, time out. He sends you brownies? I've never got a brownie yet from Dave.
You should
I'm actually going to text him after this show. Where's my brownies? And I want
to write a letter.
Dave, I want the legal brownies, by the way, too.
He'll probably send you. Well, yeah, he sent me the other batch, but no, they're delicious, and they're amazing. Their whole team's so great. Kendra, love her. Yeah.
Yes. Plug for all of them. Yes. I always say if anybody needs any funding, you need to call. And before we go, one more final big thank you, nurses out there. Shout out to all you guys. We love y'all. I'm so excited. And you both are welcome to come back anytime, seriously, for some more stories and stuff like that. Mandy, best of luck. Suzanne, you're rocking it out. I don't have to say anything about it because all I do is see these awards over and over again from you. So keep rocking it out and tell your hubby I said hi too. And before we go, give me some Yinzer lingo. Give me a couple words here.
Oh, dang. It's funny. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all we named a couple of them. Well, I don't want to say any cuss words, but I was gonna.
It's not really a cuss word. What's the one we always?
I was gonna say dag off.
Dag off. I mean, that's Pittsburgh.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, my husband, he doesn't know what some of the words even are. So it's funny. It's like a
No,
different language.
my friends, real quick too. Like even when I'm on the phone, people will say, I thought you're from like New York or something or Florida the way you look, but then he's like, as soon as you open that mouth, yeah, you're Southwestern PA.
Yep. I would say like, you going down the south side.
Down the south side.
Down the south side. Yeah.
And the best is real quick is the rivers. Like Mandy, we don't call our rivers the full name because I don't think we know how to pronounce it. The Yacht, the Mon. Like you come to Pittsburgh, like, oh, you're on the Mon. Like, what the hell is a Mon?
Yeah. It's a whole nother world, and I do miss it. Like I miss the homey feeling of Pittsburgh because like it's such a community. Like you and I talking, I just feel like I know you. Like I've known you my whole life, But like, yeah, I have to get back there someday soon and go visit.
Look at this. We got Jacob on the hand. So do you often have your travelers reach out about transitioning to recruiter roles?
Actually, I mean, we have a few. Yeah, we have a few. We're trying to like dispel the thing with staffing agencies. I feel like there's been since COVID like this, animosity between the two. Trying to show everybody that we can all work together and it's not all bad. So we do have some people, and I'm happy to talk to them. I just really recruiting is hard, and I'm sure you can attest to this. It's not easy. It's definitely a grind, and it's definitely there's a lot to learn. So we always just try to prepare people for that. And I'd love to chat with any traveler who's interested. I think we have the best perspective. Yeah.
Suzanne, is it really hard to staff? That's why I got silver in my hair. No, I'm just joking.
Mine's going. It's turning.
Wait, thank you both for coming on. And yes, let's celebrate Nurses Week. This is the first day, so we got a whole week of celebration. Hey, thank you both. I'll talk to you soon. We're out of here. See ya.